Every man has his own strengths. Some guys are really good looking, some guys are really intelligent, some guys are really athletic, and obviously some guys are a mixture. And I mean, every man has little bits and pieces of each of these things. But one thing that I've noticed with some guys who struggle in the dating scene is that they tend to be too serious. So they're lacking in a playful side. And I think if I'm very honest about who I am as a man, my superpower or my strong point is I'm just kind of a goofball and my sense of humor, because I realize that my sense of play and teasing and joking is really a big part of what makes me who I am. And when I coach some of the guys that I work with who struggle with being serious, it often stems from this idea that they don't want to offend or they don't want to be disapproved of. And they think that if they were to be a little goofy, or if they lighten up and aren't, let's see, what's the word here? If they don't answer exactly what they're being asked, the questions that they're being asked, or if they tease, or if they, kind of make fun of a girl, that they're going to lose that approval and they're going to lose their chances for, dating that woman. And I'm thinking back to a time in high school. I was a 10th grader and I was taking Japanese class, and so I'd go to the class, and every time I'd go to the class, the prior class would come out, and that was the class of seniors. And there was this one girl who was a senior who I thought was just the most cutest thing. I was just like, had the biggest crush on her, right? She was Asian, but she had pink hair. This was like in the 90s, so she had pink hair. This is way before all the crazy like it is now, but she was one of the first few people who had, colored hair like that in the 90s. And anyway, one day she asked me out, and I was just completely dumbfounded. Because I had the biggest crush on her. I remember we went on a field trip, and somehow we ended up sitting next to her on the bus, and I talked to her, and it never really went anywhere because I never asked her out or anything like that, but she ended up asking me out one day when we were passing each other between classes. And she found out she really liked me too. So anyway, from then on, we would hang out from time to time and do stuff together. But I think I was very much in the same boat as what some of the guys that I coach with are in right now, which is I was really afraid to be myself. I thought I had to be something that would impress her. And, I think a lot of guys feel this way. But so she never really got to experience who I really was. And granted, I was a 10th grader. So, you have a lot of different insecurities, a lot of things going on. She's a senior, and although it's only 2 years older than you, it just feels like such a big difference at that age. And so I was very awkward. I was stilted. I was stiff. I would hold back because I just didn't know what to say, and I didn't want to look like a fool. I didn't want to offend her, or maybe not offend isn't the right word, but I just didn't want to look uncool in her eyes. Because in my eyes, she was super cool. She could drive. I couldn't. She was into all this music that I didn't even know about. She liked these movies that I had never even heard of. So it was like this whole thing. And I just didn't want to look like a doof. So instead, I played it very cool. I refrained from saying too much. And that might have had actually, in retrospect, a positive effect, because it was kind of like, okay, who's this guy? He's kind of mysterious. He's kind of cool. He's artsy, but doesn't say too much. And you know how girls really like to uncover and find out who you are. That may very well have played to my advantage. But looking back, I think I could have done a better job of letting loose and just goofing off and being relaxed. And so for those of you guys out there right now who tend to be too serious, I really recommend lighting up a bit, because what this does is it shows that you, well, first of all, you have a sense of humor, and women love to laugh. I always go back to the Cyndi Lauper song, "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." It's very, very true. They want to laugh. They want to goof around. And so by you being able to be lighthearted, poke fun, have a little witty comeback here and there, it shows, I really do think that it shows you have a level of confidence, because you're willing to, I guess in some ways, risk offending somebody or risk having someone be upset with you for saying something. And if you're willing to do that, again, this subconsciously tells her that, okay, he's got balls. He's not afraid of being rejected. And that in turn has a very positive effect. And of course, obviously people just like to laugh. And I think too, when you can let go a little bit and just accept that, even if, let's just say you do let go, you act a little funny and are telling jokes or teasing, and she doesn't like it. Let's just go there, okay? Let's just fulfill that fear. Well, the worst thing that can happen is you just don't see her again. I mean, that's really the worst thing that can happen, right? And you have to ask yourself this question: is a woman who will not be on board with your humor, who gets offended easily, who has a stick up her ass, is that the type of woman that you'd want to have a long-term relationship with? Do you want to be walking on pins and needles where you can't be yourself? Or would you rather just let her go, be patient, and wait for the next one? Well, obviously, I'm going to recommend for you to move on, be patient, and move on to the next one. Because when you're with somebody that really likes you and your sense of humor, it makes things so much more smooth and easy. You're not pulling teeth to get them to like you. So, a couple of things. I'm just trying to think, if you're a serious kind of a guy, but maybe you do have a sense of humor with people that you're comfortable with, one thing that I think is just give you one paradigm shift for you to think about is women especially, well, people out there in general, they don't know anything about what's going on in your mind, if you're insecure, if you aren't confident, and maybe you are feeling that way inside. But no one else really knows that. Obviously, if you're like, at the date and you're so nervous, you're like, shaking, you're like that visibly obvious, then okay, sure, people will be like, okay, dude, just relax. It's okay, chill out. If you're doing that, that's one thing. But most of you guys aren't doing that, right? And so if you're afraid to let go and indulge, just remember that whoever's with you, they're looking for a lovely evening. They're looking to have a good time with you. And they are under the assumption that you are confident and have your shit together. Because let's just say I'm at a date, I'm sitting next to a girl at the bar here, and I'm sitting here like this, looking at her, having a conversation, just very calm. Now, I could actually be very nervous, you would never know. Or I could be super confident, just like, okay, this is just a run-of-the-mill date for me. I'm just sitting here enjoying my drink. No one's gonna know the difference. So when you realize that other people they're not gonna assume that you're nervous or that you're gonna assume that you're insecure about things, that'll give you a little extra confidence to just go for it. And like I said, if for whatever reason she's sitting next to you and she gets butthurt and really gets offended, that's honestly probably for the better. You would rather know that now than later, right? Because again, you don't want to put up with a woman like that. And same with a woman. If a woman was asking me for advice, I'd tell her, hey, look, if a guy got super butthurt about a joke or got really offended, that's a red flag. And that dude, you don't want to be with a guy who just gets his feathers ruffled so easily. So For those of you who are serious and are afraid to say something, enjoy the moment. Be there. Focus on, get them to smile, get them to laugh, because you want to see if they can handle it or not. And if you just think that you yourself are a serious person that just can't go there, ask yourself why. Because I just don't believe that people are all serious all of the time. And if you are, that's a different issue that I suggest that probably needs some uncovering and looking at. Because if you have that much bottled up feelings where you can't let go and can't have a good time, then that needs to be addressed, because you don't want to live your life like that either. But like I said, be willing to make some mistakes, say a joke that's kind of lame, be willing to do that. It might happen. I mean, you don't want to be sitting there telling long ass jokes or anything like that, but having a little witty banter, funny little comeback, that's what she said type of a thing. You have to practice this. It's difficult to teach. In my situation, I grew up in a family that we joked a lot. So like on my mother's side, it's Irish, very Irish, and German. German has a much more abrasive, rougher sense of humor. Still got humor, but a more direct and blunt. The Irish was more goofy, jokey, prankstery. And on my Chinese side, my dad was pretty silly too, goofing off and, roughhousing. So I kind of got a mixture of that. So I'm used to that. That's in a way you could call like this how we show affection for each other, is goofing around, teasing. We want to have fun and laugh. Now, if you're from a different background where you just didn't do that, I think adding that skill set to your arsenal could be life-changing, honestly. I'm not overstating that. If you're someone who never grew up with humor or can't laugh or can't joke and tease, or if you get really offended by it, learning and incorporating that skill and trying to make this a part of who you are will change your life in ways that are hard to describe, but it will make your life infinitely better, easier, and interacting with people will go much, much further than if you are super, super serious all the time. So anyway, this video is directed, I guess, towards guys who get serious when interacting with women, that they do have a sense of humor with their guy friends or people that they're not attracted to, but when it comes to women, sometimes you clamp up, you bottle up, and you hold back, letting go and having fun. And I should say, some of you guys will drink to loosen up, and I understand that, but I am a believer in just doing things naturally, uncovering your blocks, so you can do it with or without this. I mean, I guess I'd say do it without this. You don't want to rely on this, because usually then you kind of just, it becomes a little bit of a crutch. And I'm a person who I don't like to have a crutch. I want to do everything on my own. I want to be able to do things without relying on somebody else or something else. So learning how to acquire this skill so you can do it on your own, it really can help. And I'm not saying you need to be a stand-up comedian or be super jokey, but being lighthearted, being able to disagree in a playful way, because you don't want to be a yes man all the time. You don't want to be shaking your boots of disagreeing and worried about that. You want to be able to disagree playfully. You want to be able to poke fun playfully, because it'll loosen her up too, right? It'll loosen her up. It'll loosen the mood of just the data, and things tend to go much better when you can enjoy it, share a laugh, and have some fun. So, tell me a little bit about your guys' backgrounds. Are you a super serious man? And if you are, has it affected you, or how has it affected you? Has it actually, maybe it's been good for you? Maybe you don't need to be joking. I'd like to hear about that. Or if you're a guy who wants to be more easygoing and lighthearted, what have you struggled with most? Let me know in those comments. I have a guide, also a free guide if you guys want to learn more. It's about how to attract feminine women into your life. So it's a free guide. Grab it down below. If you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. I put out videos about once, twice a week. And if you're looking to get one-on-one coaching with me, if you have a relationship struggle that you just need some guidance on to reveal where you're going wrong, click the links down below and book a session with me. That is it for this video, and we will see you in the next one.